Hello everyone, welcome back to another anime review. We are reviewing Reborn as a vending machine in the dungeon or whatever the fuck it's called. It's in the title description down below. So our main protagonist dies and gets reborn as a vending machine in another world. Pretty much it's another isekai anime. However, there's one problem I have with this anime, and it's really, how do I say it? It's really obstructs. Is like the only reason why he dies and turns into a vending machine is because he dies by trying to save a vending machine and then he gets killed by a fucking vending machine. But yet gets reborn into a magical dungeon. Now he gets reborn, but he's in a dungeon. So it's not like the real Earth. Um, and the first thing that he gets interacted with are goblins who are trying to kick the shit out of him, which is good and all. But then he decides to make sure that he can survive until then, because if he uses too much MP, he's gonna die at some point. So the goblins take a lot of his MP, and he has to use MP to stay operated because he's a vending machine, so to speak. So it's kind of like using your clockwork. Like a vending machine does die if it's not plugged in, so it's usually battery life. But in this case, it's magic PP or what the fuck it's called. So when a girl comes in, because she has blonde hair and she is the main protagonist of this anime besides the vending machine. She has a dark past. Her family was killed in a monster raid or what the hell, and the only person that survived is her friend. And she dies at some point, and she dies in the last episode. But he decides to revive her back by using EMTs and those shock things that EMT tried to use when someone is dead and they tried to revive him by shocking the heart. I don't know what the hell that is, but I knew what the hell it was. And they make and the vending machine makes a good quote about it, saying that most people don't know how to fucking use this shit, and then he's right. Like the only people that I know who know how to use a freaking shock thing is fucking EMTs. Maybe some smo knows how to use it, but you don't want to use it too much because then you're just gonna fucking zap the crap out of them. So that's an interesting thing, but that's at the very end of the anime. But so our main protagonist has a dark past. However, the vending machine, when she tries to put money in, because it's 100 yen to buy stuff, which is very fucking expensive, um, you have to pay 100 zen, but it's a different currency there because he's in another world. So he has to make sure that the currency is matched up to the currency in Japan. And he does do that, but it's one silver coin, and it's very fucking expensive when it comes to the food there. However, the food that he can take out, the food is really delicious. It's like your typical vending machine when it comes to Japan. Because I know Japan has bunches of fucking vending machines out in this world, and it makes no fucking sense. But then again, we'll get into that when we get into that. Now, when it comes to the vending machines, he can change the items at any time by custom P. I might call it P because that's what it says. I mean, that's what it says. So he can change the bottle of water into the vending machine and also change it into soda. So now you don't get water, but you do get soda. So he can also change it to lemon soda or freaking ramen noodles. He can change himself into a ramen noodle thing. He can also transform himself to make balloons. And he can also transform to make himself gas someone with gasoline because he turns himself into a gas pump, which that's fucking brutal. And he also transforms himself into an ice making machine. And also the fact that he also makes how do I say this? Hot what's it called? Dry ice at some point because he does make that at some point. Dry ice is really good. But the other characters do not know what dry ice does. If you must know, dry ice has a lot of carbon dioxide, so if you breathe too much in, it's gonna kill you. That's why I know about dry ice. Dry ice is more dangerous than regular ice. Regular ice is cold. Dry ice is like makes it steamy and it's really carbon dioxide type stuff. But yeah, that's beside the point. So when it comes to the main character, he has it down to a T. He doesn't care about it, but the only problem I have with him is the fact that there's no he doesn't die because it's a parody anime and he's the main protagonist. But the other thing is that the final enemy that they verse, which is the Demon Lord's general, he mentions that he knows that he's from another world. The problem is he only acknowledges it once, and that's the very end of the anime. I'm like, shouldn't you acknowledge it more often in the last episode if you're not gonna do that? That pissed me off to the point where I don't know what the hell I was. Why did you not mention it to your friends? But yet you can't say that much because here's a newsflash for you: the main protagonist can't say that much stuff. He can only say what the vending machine can say, which is a bunch of phrases that if a real vending machine has a voice, it will say those things in voice terms. So it's like that. It does make its quirks and stuff, and that's the main problem with it. He does have eyes, but the main characters do not see him with eyes, and that's the main gist of things. Now her friend gets kidnapped, and he helps her get out at the sticky situation. That's pretty much about it. She joins the party. As for the other dweebs, you got a guy who looks like a detective, a girl with blue hair who she is freaking useless. She doesn't do shit. However, she is a magical powerhouse, so that's a good thing. And then you got the two scouting jackasses. He doesn't really do that much, except for they do scout out further ahead for monsters and stuff, but he doesn't do jack shit. Now, as for the last character in the Operation of Fools, I'm gonna call them that because I don't know what the hell they are. They are called the Party of Fools, I think it's called, and they have an archery person. She has the most character development of all of them because the other characters are not going to be fully developed until later if they get a second season or read the manga. But our main protagonist, the girl who has the bow and arrow, that she can use arrows to kill people. The problem is the fact that she is helping out a bunch of kids because it's like Made in the Abyss. You have different types of levels and stuff, and some of them are really interesting. So that's the main gist of things. She helps out kids in the orphanage where the parents can't make it to the next level and they die and this, that, and the other thing. So it's really interesting on how the hell they do it. Now when it comes to there are thieves, and they are a bunch of idiots. I've already established that. And there are 4 hyenas who they think that the vending machine's fucking stupid, but that's not the case because they are the most stupidest people ever. However, they do attack people. Now, there's one more character that actually matters, and that's the hero. The hero is a powerhouse. He's the only person that do damage besides our main protagonist, the girl with the blonde hair, to the last villain of the group. He slices them in half, but doesn't really do shit. And he's very, 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 how do I say it, he's very powerful, but the problem is that he has social anxiety. He doesn't know how to talk to people because he's very afraid of people, and that's fucking hilarious. They do talk about it when he first gets introduced. He gets flirted by all the girls because he's a hunk, and he's a handsome dude, but he doesn't know how to talk to people, so he acts like a fucking buffoon. But that's pretty much about it. So this anime, the whole entire, it's a parody anime, so I kind of figured I wasn't gonna be like taking this anime seriously. But the main problem I have with it, though, and this is the main problem I have with it, is that it's supposed to be comedy, and the only thing I have a problem with it is the fact that I keep fucking saying it all the time, because the comedy is nowhere existence. I wasn't laughing throughout the whole entire anime. It does have its serious moments, but when they were doing comedy, I wasn't laughing. I was laughing a few bits and pieces here, but the anime is not funny in my aspects, and I've seen my fair share of animes. Like a few anime reviews ago, I was laughing hysterically at one freaking thing, and that's because of the fact. That's of the OP character. The last anime review, the mother was the saving grace of that anime, and that was fucking funny. Like, that made it bump it up to, like, whatever number I gave it because I forgot about it. This anime, however, has no comic relief whatsoever. It feels kind of bland in my aspects, but that's just my opinion, to be honest with you. Because I got bored after a while, and I just didn't want to watch it anymore. But yeah, pretty much that's pretty much it. So I'm giving this anime a 5 out of 10. It's been a while since I've had two animes that were below a 6. But I'm at the point where the isekai animes, I'm kind of getting drained from them because I've done so many of them in the past 2 years. So I'm gonna take a break from that and watch something different. But this anime gets a 5 out of 10. Even if I did not watch any of the isekai animes beforehand, I would still give this anime a 5 out of 10 because it wasn't funny to most aspects, in my opinion, and that's the main problem I have with it. But I hope you guys have a nice positive day. Hopefully my explanation explains it to you guys. I still recommend watching it because it's pretty fucking funny of a concept of a vending machine in another world where they can make fucking food and stuff from the world that they died in. But it baffles the fuck out of me. Like, why the fuck is this anime existed? I don't understand. Also, the fact that they're fucking when he turns into something else, it's because of the fact that it's Japan, and Japan has a lot of weird freaking vending machines. I've recently noticed that because I think that most of because there are some vending machines. He turns himself into a box. He turns himself into a jukebox, like I said, a gas pump, and he also turns himself into an ice maker. Like, what the fuck? You say this is a fucking vending machine? It's not a vending machine. It's something completely different. He can turn himself into anything he wants. He even turns himself that makes people get tense. Or he can make a freaking toilet out of a tent, which, but I'm giving this anime a 5 out of 10. There are some aspects that I do like about it, but they're far in between. And the only thing I like about it is its seriousness. When it comes to seriousness, because it's actually a refreshing of it. But I'm still giving this a 5 out of 10. What are you guys' thoughts on Reborn as a vending machine? Would you want to watch it? Would you watch it? I highly recommend you watch it because it's a really interesting concept, but I just think its execution was really bad. Especially when the characters are not bouncing off of each other because they don't really show up. Like, in the beginning of the anime, that's the one thing I hate about this anime is the fact that some characters bounce off of each other most of the time. Like, for example, Lucky Star. Most of the characters bounce off of each other, which they know how to keep a conversation going. This anime cannot do that because most characters leave from a site and then they have to reestablish a group. That's my main problem. Like, the only characters that actually bounce off of each other really well was the hyenas, and they only show up one episode for focusing on them, and then they just decide to hang out with the crew and they're just in the background not saying that much. So that's the other problem I have with it. But I'm still giving this one a 5. It's still pretty funny to watch, but I never laughed at most of the jokes. So I hope you guys have a nice positive day. Take care, and always stay positive.